All right, today for language, we will be doing page 134, 135. The back of yesterday's paper is just a story we're going to read, and then we're going to summarize that story, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. Okay, I said I did not want to have to get on to somebody for not paying attention to me teaching, so please don't make me have to do that. Your feet should be flat on the floor, not picking your desk up off the floor. All right, we're going to review for the test first, though, before we start that, because what we're going to do on our paper has nothing to do with what's on the test. Eyes up here. We are going to divide and mark the sentence up, and then we're going to diagram it, and you will have to do that on your test on Friday. So the first sentence says, read it with me, Olivia and Bella are sweet. So where are we going to draw that line?
After Bella.
Yes, after Bella. Does everybody understand that? All right, then you're going to look at this side of the sentence, which is your predicate side, and you're going to say, what is the verb? Are. That would be a, what kind of verb?
Non-action.
Yes, that is a non-action verb. Please stop working on that paper now. Put your pencil down and get your eyes up here. Okay? I am reviewing for the test. This is not on that paper, and I don't want you working on that paper anymore. You should have already done that paper yesterday. All right. So we're going to underline it twice because that's what we do to all verbs. Whether it's non-action or action, it gets 2 lines. I'm waiting for you to sit up. Thank you. That is sitting up. Stay like that. Okay? And then you say to yourself, who are? And the answer is?
Olivia Bella.
Olivia Bella. So you underline them once. That is the subject of your sentence. So then you look at your diagram. You have a rocket ship for your 2 subjects, which are?
Olivia and Bella.
Olivia, Bella. And then on the other side is where you're going to put your verb, which this time it is the word are. And that's all. Just are. All right, let's read the second sample sentence. The second sample sentence says, yesterday, Mitch was helping me paint. So where are we going to draw the line this time?
After Mitch.
After Mitch. All right, so we're going to look on the predicate side first. What is our verb? Everybody.
Helping.
All right, this time it is was helping. This time was is not a non-action verb. It is a helping verb, and it's helping the word helping. Yes, it's helping the word helping. Then you say to yourself, who was helping? Mitch. So you underline Mitch once. Why is Olivia the only one answering again? Pay attention and answer. I want class answering right now. So on this part of the diagram, what are we going to write? Mitch, our subject. And on the other side of the diagram, what are we going to write?
Was helping.
Was helping. All right, and that would be 2 types of sentences you might diagram. And we will keep reviewing that tomorrow and again on Thursday. And then the test will be on Friday, but there will be diagramming. Another thing that you're going to be doing is what we are going to do here. We also did it on paper yesterday. You're going to read the sentence, you're going to circle the pronoun, and you're going to figure out what noun was it referring back to. That would be called its antecedent, okay? So read the first sentence with me. It says, when Anna tried to pet the dog, it nipped at her. Now this one actually has 2 pronouns, okay? So in the sentence, when Anna tried to pet the dog, it nipped at her. Raise your hand this time. We're not going to blur it out this time. Adam, what would be one of the pronouns? It. And Adam, can you tell me what it is referring back to?
Nipped.
Nipped. So the it is nipped.
The dog.
Yes, dog. So you're going to underline dog, and you're going to draw, it's not a very long arrow, but you're going to draw arrow from it back to dog. Because it is talking about the dog. What nipped? The dog nipped. All right? What is the other pronoun? Olivia Yinger. Her. Her is also a pronoun. And what is it going to refer back to?
Anna.
Yes. This time you have to go all, whoops, it's not writing. All the way back to Anna. and underline Anna also. All right, so this type thing will be on the test. Let's do the next one. Mike, are you ready? All right, Jonathan.
Circle you.
You is our pronoun, very good, and
Mike and underline.
yes, and Mike is who it's talking about. So you'd go back from you to Mike. You is Mike. That would be a direct address, but when you say Mike, are you ready? You're talking about Mike. You is Mike. All right, the last one says Cooper kicked the ball and he scored a goal. Ready? You want to do this one? What's the pronoun? Cooper kicked the ball and he scored a goal. He, very good. He is our pronoun. And what is that talking about? Cooper, very good. So we're going to go all the way back to Cooper. And don't forget to underline Cooper as the noun. All right, so those are two different things that are on your test. The other thing that's on your test, I'm going to have to move the camera for, but it's what we were doing yesterday on our paper, where we're going to divide the sentence just like we do for diagram purposes, but then you have to decide which pronoun to use, whether it's from the subject side of the sentence or the predicate side of the sentence. So let me move the camera over to the other side so we can see the sentences on this side of the board. Sorry for the dizzy ride. All right. Whoops. It's on top of my thing. I think all of the sentences can be seen. All right, I know there's a glare, but let's see if I can get the glare off somewhat, but I don't think I can. All right, I'll read the sentences out loud. All right, the first sentence, read it with me, says, everybody look at the sentence, please. Aunt Ruth mailed a letter to Barb and I or me. All right, so the first thing we can do is to divide it. So where are we going to divide it? Just say it out loud.
After Ruth.
Yes, after Aunt Ruth. And then you're going to say, what's the verb? Mailed, just like we do for diagramming. Mailed is the verb. Who mailed?
Aunt Ruth.
Aunt Ruth mailed. All right, so our choice of pronouns was down here. So is it on the subject side of the sentence or the predicate side of the sentence?
Predicate.
So which one are we going to choose?
Me.
Me. Yes, Aunt Ruth mailed a letter to me. Okay, guys, listen. If you're checking it, get rid of Barb for a second and say to yourself, Aunt Ruth mailed a letter to me. Sometimes when people put Barb, then they want to say Barb and I. But if you take away Barb, would you say Aunt Ruth mailed a letter to I?
No.
No, see, sometimes when you have two people, it makes you think the other one is the right answer. But if you take away Barb for a second and say Aunt Ruth mailed a letter to me, you realize that's the right one to use. Besides the fact that it's on the predicate side of the sentence, so you're going to use me, right? What, Jonathan?
But when I say, like, my friend and me did something, my dad says it's not right.
Because that's the subject side of the sentence. Right?
Oh.
If you divide your sentence,
Mine.
if you divide your sentence, when you say my friend and I, you are the subject, okay? That's on the predicate side of the sentence. That's why we divide it, so you can see, is this the subject or is this the predicate? Okay? All right, in fact, guess what? This very next one will help us. So what are we going to put on the line? Yes, we're going to put a P because that was on the predicate side of the sentence. So a P for predicate. All right, now let's read the next one because this is just what he was talking about. Jimmy and I or me ran a race today. So we're going to divide this one.
After I or me.
Yes, you're going to divide it after our me. So look on the predicate side, what's our verb? Ran. Who ran?
Jimmy.
Jimmy, and then we're going to use either I or me.
I.
But think about it. If you get rid, a lot of people want to say Jimmy and me ran a race today. And you say it so much that it sounds right to you. Get rid of Jimmy. Would you say me ran a race today?
No.
No. So when you got rid of Jimmy, then you realize, oh, me is not the right one. I should pick I. Plus, this is on what side of the sentence? Yes, so you need to put a S because this is the subject side of the sentence. That's why we're picking I. All right, let's look at the next one. Ella and she or her went to the mall. All right, we're going to divide it.
After she or her.
Yes, after the she or the her. What's our verb? Go to the predicate side. What's our verb? Went. Who went? Ella. And stop for a second. Let's get rid of Ella. Would I say she went to the mall or her went to the mall? She. So you know she is the right one to use. Ella and she went to the mall. And by the way, we do need to underline these because they are the subject. Do we need to underline this one? No, that's the predicate part of the sentence. But we do need to, just like we underlined Jimmy, I never finished underlining Jimmy, you need to underline I. Circle it and underline it. Ella, underline it. She, circle it because it's the correct answer and underline it. And what are we going to put on the line? S, because that is the subject side of the sentence. Okay, are you starting to understand it? Because this is what you need to do on that paper that you get to. Don't do it now, but do you understand it? All right, one more. Eyes up here. Mrs. Good brought a pizza to we or us. Where are we going to divide it?
After Mrs. Good.
Very good. After Mrs. Good. What's our verb? Mrs. Good brought. Brought is the verb. Who brought it?
Mrs. Good.
All right, so look at our pronoun choices. Are they on the subject side of the sentence or the predicate side of the sentence? Yes, predicate. So which one are we going to pick? Which one's predicate? We or us? Us. Very good. Us. Mrs. Good brought a pizza to us. And what do we need to write on the line? P for predicate because it was on the predicate side of the sentence. All right. The other thing, I'm not going to do that with you today because to me it is really so easy. Let's just look at our pronoun chart and just say the pronouns because you're going to have to look at a bunch of words and you're just going to have to circle the ones that are pronouns. Some of them will be nouns. I did do this on the board with you yesterday. And some of you are not paying attention because when I pick up a chart, where are your eyes supposed to go?
On the charts.
Do not be working on that paper. Look up here. All right, so let's read. These are the subject pronouns. Read them with me. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. And these are the predicate pronouns or objective case pronouns. That's what they're really known as. And that would be me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. And you guys remember why we say them twice? Because you can be both singular and plural. This side is the singular, and then this side is the plural. And the objective case are the ones you use on the predicate side of your sentence. All right, but you will have to look at some words. Some of them will be nouns, and some of them will be those pronouns. All you have to do is go through and circle all the pronouns. That is another thing that is on the test. And that's it. All right, now let's look at what we're going to be doing today. Don't look at the paper because I'm going to read a story to you, and we're going to talk about summarizing. A summary is a short way of telling the main idea, something you read or heard. Instead of telling your friend about all the details, you would tell him just the main thought. And one way to do this is by making a list of the most important ideas. So listen up. I'm going to read a story to you, and then we're going to do the one on your paper. Master jumpers. One of God's amazing creatures is the kangaroo, which lives in Australia. Though there are many smaller animals that hop about, kangaroos are the only large animals that get around by hopping. Kangaroos can come in many shapes and sizes, but the largest is the red kangaroo, which can grow to be 6 feet tall. The red kangaroo's leap can be as high as 10 feet and as far as 25 feet. That's some powerful jumping. The secret to the kangaroo's mighty leaps is its feet. God made the kangaroo with very large, powerful back feet. The feet of the red kangaroo can be 1.5 feet long. God also gave the kangaroo a powerful tail that helps it to balance when it's jumping. Our God is a master creator and thinks of every detail, even the details that make master jumpers. All right, so as we read in that, we learned that they live in Australia. They move by hopping. The red kangaroo can hop the farthest and the highest. They all hop by using their back feet, and their tail helps it balance. So if you were going to tell your friend just a summary of what you read, you would not quote it word perfect, would you? You would just hit the highlights. All right? So then you could turn around and turn that into 1 or 2 sentences by saying, kangaroos live in Australia and get around by hopping, using their big back feet for power and their tails for balance. Notice that time I didn't even include the red kangaroos, did I? All right, so that is what we're going to be doing today with the story that you have on your paper. So everybody look at that paper that shows you the story. We're going to read that together, and I'm going to have to come around and read it from some of these papers because my version is way too small. All right, you guys ready? Read it out loud with me. Man's best friend. Dogs are called man's best friend for good reason. They are loving, faithful, and very helpful. Some dogs are trained to help humans in extraordinary ways. Service dogs help people with tasks that they may not be able to do themselves. They help a blind person know where to go, or they may bring items to a person who is paralyzed and cannot move. Some dogs can even sense when a person is sick. Other brave dogs help the police to do their jobs. These police dogs use their amazing sense of smell to detect hidden items that people cannot find. Search and rescue dogs help find people who have gotten lost in the woods or have been hurt during disasters. Dogs are very special creatures that are truly a gift to us from God. So we're going to summarize this informational piece to make it be much shorter. So can you think of some of the main ideas? So you're going to start at the beginning, and we're not going to write every single thing down. We're going to write many of things down. Every time they say an important idea, we're going to write something else down. So raise your hand if you want to tell me one of the important ideas. Ben?
Dogs are very special animals.
Okay, but one.
Because they can help people.
All right, so if you look at that second line, it says loving, faithful, and helpful. Wasn't that
Yeah.
an important idea? So that's all we're going to write. Are we going to make these be sentences?
No.
No, these are just ideas. So pick up your pencil and at that first important idea, just write loving, faithful, and helpful. That tells us why they're special. He was just saying they're special, but by saying they're loving, faithful, and helpful, that gives us reasons why they're special, right?
Yeah.
There we go, that's better. Such a glare. All right, did you write that already? Okay, so can you give me another thing?
Find hidden objects.
Okay, are you skipping way ahead? I said that we're going to go through and we're going to sort of go in order every time we come to another important idea. So what was the first thing they said that dogs can do to be loving, faithful, and helpful? What was the first thing, Abby? I can't hear you. I just want to know what was the first thing they said about dogs that they can do to help them be loving, faithful, and helpful. Really loud, I can't hear you. Try again. Amanda, can you tell me what she's saying? Because I can't understand her.
Help humans in extraordinary ways.
All right, that's pretty long, but what do you call dogs who help humans?
Assistant and
What did they call them in the story?
service dog.
Yes, so service dogs can help people. We're not going to quote necessarily directly from the story, but I wouldn't change it to assistance animals when they call them service dogs. So let's just say service dogs help people. Whoops, I forgot my O. Service dogs help people. And they talked about dogs that help blind people, but do we need to list all the different people?
No.
Not if we're summarizing. They talked about dogs that help people that are paralyzed. They talked about dogs that help people that get sick, and they're probably talking a lot about, it could be people that have seizures. There are dogs that can tell when a person's gonna have a seizure. There are dogs that can tell if somebody has diabetes. There's a dog that can tell when their blood sugar is going too high or too low, and they alert them to the fact that their blood pressure is going up and down. But we're not gonna write all those different things that were in the story. We're just gonna say service dogs help people.
That's like
Okay.
half of the paragraph.
You're raising your hand, but do not wait until I'm telling you. Alright, because this is a summary. A summary makes it much shorter. Does that make sense? Alright, somebody else. What was another kind of dog that wouldn't be a service dog necessarily? We haven't done it yet. Owen.
Police dog.
Yes, police dogs. Alright, so police dogs. Police dogs help police. Service dogs are usually helping an individual person. It becomes their personal service dog, whereas police dogs, usually they have one handler, but they are helping the police as a whole, aren't they? It's necessary for them to have one handler, but they are helping. Alright, and then the last thing, what was they said about dogs? What was another important idea that they said about all dogs, whether it's a service dog, or a police dog, or a search and rescue dog? What was something they said about dogs? Dogs are,
Very special creatures.
okay, but where do we get dogs? There's something I want you to say. They are a what? Yeah, they are special, but I want you to focus on this one phrase. So everybody keep looking at the bottom until you get what I'm after. Yes, they're a special creature, but I think more important than the fact that they're special is that they are,
A gift from God.
yes, a gift from God. God created dogs. And he knew what he was doing because he knew that we'd be able to use dogs to help us. Even if your dog is not truly a service dog, how many of you have a dog and you get comfort from your dog? You go home, you've had a rough day, and your dog comes forward and just greets you, and it's so happy to see you, and it just comforts you, doesn't it? So they are a gift from God. All right, now we're going to take those ideas, and just like with when I was doing the summary of the kangaroos, and I made an important idea about the red kangaroo, but then I didn't include it in my sentence, did I? I decided that would make the sentence too wordy, right? But we're going to use some of these ideas, and we're going to make it be a sentence. So what do you think our first word's going to be? No.
Samantha.
Because is it just about service dogs?
No.
No, so we should just start with
Dogs.
dogs. We're going to start just with dogs, guys. And what was the first important thing that we said? Dogs are Loving.
Faithful, and helpful.
loving, faithful, and helpful. Dogs are loving, faithful, and helpful. Alright, and we're just going to make this be 3 really short sentences. The dogs are loving, faithful, and helpful. And then we are not going to include these as separate sentences. Can't we put these two together and say what? If we put those two together, what would we say? Remember we don't have to say every single word, we had an idea, yeah.
Service and police dogs are helpful to people.
Alright, or we can just say service and police dogs help people, because aren't policemen people? Alright, so the second sentence is gonna be service and police dogs help people. And then I wanna include this last idea. What am I gonna say with that last idea? Jonathan?
They are a gift from God.
Yes, they are a gift from God. So we took that long informational paragraph and we turned it into, how many sentences? 3. That is what summarizing is. And by the way, that's sort of what you're supposed to be doing when you're doing a book report, right? You're supposed to be taking the whole book and boiling it down to just much less sentences than the whole book, right? And just telling me the most important ideas of the book, alright? Alright, so go ahead and finish writing that out. And Grace, if you need to pause that, you know what, I just realized you can't see that middle section, so I'm gonna move it over so you can see that middle section that I just wrote, and then you can pause it. And I don't think you can see it. I'm gonna move the camera to a different place. Sorry, here goes your group for a ride again. Whoops.
It's okay.
No. Alright, so now you can see what we were writing. Dogs are loving, faithful, and helpful. Service and police dogs help people. They are a gift from God. Now you can pause the video and finish copying that. Alright,